T-Bag! What's up everybody? Tbaggusmaximus here with another Cities Skylines guide. This time, how to start your city. In this beginner friendly guide, I'm going to share with you how to go from a single plot of land to a small city. This is a no-fail sort of guide and will get any city you want up and running if you follow it. More so guys, this run through is without any meaningful mods. It's practically vanilla. So for all you console players out there, listen up. You can follow this guide just as easily. And lastly, before we get started guys, if you find this video helpful or entertaining, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing to my channel. I'm releasing even more City Skyline content. Alright, let's get started. I'm selecting one of the default maps for the build. This particular map is called Grand River. Okay, so from the beginning, here are some essential tips. First, you'll notice that you only start the game with about $70,000. You can see that number down here. So you want to set up your initial infrastructure while the game is paused. This prevents you from losing money over time while no residents are coming in and providing any tax income. You also want to keep things somewhat compact when you start building your roads, because the more distance that you have, the more money you'll spend. I start out my city with some sort of roundabout. Take the 2-lane road and make a circular road with the tool in the bottom left. I do about 10 units, but you can make your circle larger. You now connect your roundabout to the highway using one-way roads at this point. Once the circle is down, you use the exclamation point and make the road a one-way road. That way traffic will enter and exit in one direction off of the main highway. I'm going to have industrial traffic head off this way, and I'm going to use the 4-lane road to start fleshing out the commercial district of my future little city. It's smart that during the start of your build that you should separate out industrial, residential, and commercial traffic. You want to keep your residents away from pollution and noise. Unfortunately, a grid pattern is a very efficient way to start your city. You can always change it up and get more creative in the later parts of your city. As you see me here trying to incorporate some asymmetry and trying to follow the river landscape to make something more natural appearing. So here you see me starting to place down the residential area. And for residential areas, I like to have a good amount of dead ends because you want to limit the amount of people just traveling through your neighborhoods excessively. Guys, we're going to set up our utilities. That's a power source and a water source. Essentially, all of the buildings in the game need both water and electricity to operate. For power early on, you have two options, a coal power plant or more eco-friendly wind turbine. For most vanilla games, I recommend just using the power plant. It provides a good amount of energy for the price. When it comes to your water buildings, you need to have a water pump, which draws water up and sends it into your city. You also need some sort of sewage drain where the waste can be discarded. Both of these need to be connected with pipes, and both need to be connected to electricity via power lines or direct source of power. You must make sure that your sewage is downstream or spaced away from your water pumps, or else your citizens will drink sewage and get sick. That's why any body of water will have arrows showing you the current unless it's a stagnant body of water. Now when you establish your utilities, you need to go into the budget tab and down budget these services. At the start of the game, your production far exceeds the amount of resources you need. So by doing this, you save valuable money and you only pay for the amount that you're using. You could keep an eye on your usage throughout the game by checking the tab and looking at the box in the top left of your screen. Now using the zoning tool, I'm going to start fleshing out the zones. Yellow is industrial, so I'll put in my industrial area. The blue zone is for commercial, and obviously the green is for residential. Once I have my infrastructure, utilities, and zones in place, that's when I actually start the simulation, and we could already see that some houses are being constructed in this little neighborhood because there's a high amount of residential demand according to this bar. Basic economics of this game are as follows. You start with high residential demand, citizens move in, which means there's a demand of commercial goods. This results in industrial zones having to supply those commercial goods. Both commercial and industrial zones produce jobs. These in turn drive up the demand for more residents. Guys, make sure your new neighborhoods are connected to the water and electricity. Once the water is supplied, the lines will turn blue. Without these utilities in the area, you might not get any buildings sprouting up. Down here you could see your population as it's growing. Make sure there's a continuous positive number right next to your population. Let the simulation run. That's all you have to worry about for the first part of this game. And before you know it, your city is going to have 360 residents. That's the first milestone for the little hamlet. Congratulations. The little hamlet unlocks a few useful things to progress in the game. You get a lump sum of cash, you get the ability to modify taxes, and you have the ability to take out loans. At first, only $20,000. However, larger loans are unlocked at a later point in the game. An important thing to remember is to change your residential taxes from 9% up to 11 or 12%. That way you can maximize income without driving down residential demand. Keep an eye on your electricity and water usage and adjust it as needed. Remember, we switched it down to 50% earlier. You'll need to ramp up production now due to having more and more residents. Feel free to plop down an elementary school and a health clinic you earned for this milestone. They should be somewhere near your residential area. The school starts the learning process for any children in your city, and the healthcare clinic can dispense ambulances for your sick citizens. If you find yourself running low on cash, try to ensure that you're running a profit. Let the simulation continue as is. You'll develop an amount of savings for future projects. You also will unlock trash services. Your citizens produce garbage, and a very important service will be collecting and disposing of trash. Here I'm going to place a landfill. However, eventually every landfill gets full, and you'll need to empty it into another trash collecting building. Trash services produce a lot of traffic and pollution, so keep that in mind when you're selecting a location. Congrats, we're now a village. Honestly, at this stage in the game, you should continue to add grids and roads to your residential, commercial, and industrial areas based on demand bars. There are some exciting new updates. You unlock the ability to buy another tile of land so that you could expand your city outside the current boundaries. However, I find that it's a bit premature to do so at this point because you still typically have ample building space from your first tile. In addition to this, you have the ability to add a police station and a fire station. By providing services to your city, you increase demand. Police force patrols the streets and arrests criminals. Meanwhile, firefighters will handle fires across your city. You also have the ability to mark districts, which can provide useful insight and allow you to add policies which modify the game, in addition to allowing you to rename areas of your map. From a town, I keep following the same formula. I expand my city street by street. I add more details to the area, including trees, bike, and pedestrian paths. A great way to reduce traffic and congestion is by allowing your citizens the ability to walk or bike to their destinations. I decided for additional building space to construct a bridge across the river and to start building up a small town on the other side. Nothing fancy, commercial and residential first, followed by more industry. Later in the game, to reduce reliance on one bridge, I wound up adding 2 more bridges for citizens to reach their destination in an efficient manner. Add parks and continue to add service buildings. Things like high school, libraries, post offices, and even a cemetery to help spur demand. I also started to form more realistic suburbs. They don't necessarily follow a grid pattern, but they do follow road hierarchy. If you're interested in road hierarchy, I made a video on that too. Check it out in the video description or hit that link right there. At 7,500 residents, you also get the ability to create higher density zoning. This allows you to create larger, more dense buildings. I finally started setting up a central business district for my new town. For this, I used large avenues, a university, and I added some government buildings, in addition to high density zoning. I hit 10,000 residents, which is the definition of a small city in the game. I started to build some bus lines to help our citizens move across the city more efficiently. But that's really all there is to it, guys. Honestly, getting your city off the ground is the hardest part of this game. After that, you get a lot of creative leeway to start building your dream city. You can get to the point of 0 citizens to a small city in just about 2 hours. Possibly less if you have the game on fast forward for significant amounts of time. Guys, that's all for this getting started guide. I hope this video gets your next city started. If you want more City Skyline content, once again, check out my channel. I'm going to be posting more advanced guides in the future. Feel free to leave a comment down below for any questions or additional insights, suggestions. I'm all ears. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.